our sports show. This is episode 869, alongside my co-host Kia Lyons and Vedant Gupta from his show, Global Kid Media. And we're joined by a really special guest. Her name is Katrina Adams. She's a former tennis player. Man, what a great career she had. And also now she works in the game of tennis. She was a executive. Now she's the chair of U.S. Open, and she does a lot of things with the tennis game. She's a CEO, and she was the president too. And also, her career speaks for herself. She was in Australian Open, French Open, Wimbledon, U.S. Open, and what a great career. And thank you again, Katrina, for joining the show. And I forgot, you have a book out there called Own the Arena. So we're gonna get to all of that. First of all, how are you and your family doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
Anytime.
Thanks so much for joining, Katrina. Tell us, have you always been in athletic, into sports? Did you love tennis from a young age? How did it come about?
Well, I started playing tennis when I was 6, and I'm still playing today. I was an outstanding junior player. I was a high school state champion as a junior and senior, a college scholarship at Northwestern University, NCAA doubles champion at Northwestern University. I played 12 years on the WTA tour. Been ranked as high as number 8 in the world in doubles, 67 in singles, and you know, I carried that knowledge off the court into the business of the sport, which I'm focusing on today as a past chairman of the U.S. Open, and past president and CEO as well.
That's amazing. I need your book ASAP. I'm sure it's incredible.
I think it is, for sure. It's incredible. It's on the arena, getting ahead, making a difference, and succeeding as the only one. And that only one really represents either being the only woman in the room, the only person of color, only African American, whatever that is. But you know, everyone at some point is the only something in a room, in an arena, in an environment. And it's really a tool to really kind of help you get through those moments and situations where you may be uncomfortable.
Wow.
Right. And you must have made great commitment and great sacrifice to commit an entire lifetime to this passion. So congratulations. And I can't wait to hear all about it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's a great book. It came out the end of February, and it's really a book for everyone. Doesn't matter what your gender is, your race, ethnicity, or age. It's something in there for everyone. It really teaches you how to own your own decisions, to be able to own your destiny going forward, and overcome maybe some uncomfortable situations along the way and how you deal with them. So it's based on my own life's experiences, whether it's been on the court as a tennis player, in the boardroom, or in a business setting. And I'm really excited about it.
Well, I'm going to read it to my kids so they can be world champs if they put their mind to it too, hopefully.
There you go.
You know, I'm writing a book right now too about being the only kid in a room, in a media room, and I'm really excited about that one. I want to know when you decided that you were going to write a book, and when did the process really start for you?
Yeah,
you know what? It's something I never wanted to write a book. I never had a desire to write a book. I'm a fairly private person, so I think outside of my profession, I live in front of a camera. So when I'm not in front of the camera, you know, my life is my own. At least I thought it was. But many people started to urge me that I needed to write a book, that I had so much to share, that I'd accomplished so much, and I needed to share that story. And that's how I decided to move forward with it. I had a literary agent that chased me for a couple of years and finally nailed me down. And we talked about the direction that the book would go in, more of a leadership book as opposed to more of instead of an autobiography. And so once I decided, or once I knew that it was going to be a tool that I could help others, my entire life is about making a difference. And that's how and why I started going in this direction. And I would say, you know, this book was supposed to come out in July of 2020. And we started this process at the end of 2018. So it was about a 16-month kind of sprint to get it done, to get it turned in January of 2020, to start to go through the editing process, so forth and so on. And then about April or May last year, they decided to postpone it until the end of February of this year due to the pandemic and and not being able to, for them or anyone, being able to sell books along the way. So that was the process.
I think that's a wise choice. And real quick, I know it's Nathan. Usually we go in a circle here, but I want to ask one question. Since all eyes are on you in this sport, how did that feel to be under the public eye as you went through your life and your career with all eyes on you?
I mean, that's what I do. Yeah, I mean, I'm a professional athlete, so I'm used to having all eyes on me, and whether I'm out playing from a junior on up, you have a crowd, you have your parents, you have your coaches. The beauty about our sport is that it really teaches you how to deal with those moments, dealing with adversity, building your self-confidence, your self-esteem, understanding what being under the scope is about. The tennis court is really kind of your safe haven where you can really be yourself, your true personality comes out. So I'm a Leo. It's all about having the light shining on me at all times. So
I love it.
That was an easy thing. I got a birthday in a couple of days, and it's
Happy
all about
birthday.
shining that light. Thank you. So
Hey, I'm a Leo.
that was easy for me.
I'm a Leo.
Cool. My man. There we go.
Me and Nathan share a birthday, so I'm a Leo too.
Hey, all right.
It's the Love Leo podcast.
There we go.
That's fantastic.
So obviously, Katrina, growing up, you were born in Chicago, Illinois, and I want to ask you though, women in sports was still growing at the time. So for you, what's it like just to pave the way in tennis, being the female athlete there back in the day? And just take me through your process. How did you go about it, and how did you cope with it? Because women in sports was still growing that time too.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you're a kid, you don't understand all that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that women in, what professional tennis had just started probably 3 years before I picked up a racket. I had no idea. So even as a kid, and people are telling you these things, it means nothing. It goes over your head in one ear and out the other ear. Well, it's not really until you're adult and you're in that space that you recognize the opportunities that I had. I mean, let's look at Title IX. Title IX was born, was in the 70s. So I didn't know that what that meant going into college and getting a full scholarship. It's after the fact. It's when you're an adult, now, 10 years back, 15 years back, that I recognize just how fortunate I was to be able to go on the track that I had. I wasn't watching tennis 24/7 on the Tennis Channel when I grew up. I was watching it, every month, once a month on a weekend at a major event. So I had no idea that it was a professional tennis sport or a professional sport that I could then, evolve and become that professional. And even when I was talking about being a professional as a teenager, I still didn't understand what that meant. And so it's a lot different today than it was, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
At what point did you realize you had the chance to inspire so many people? Was it during the career? Was it after? By career I mean professionally. And when did you want to really, really get started there? I know I keep asking about when you wanted to get started, but I think talking to different athletes, they start to realize things as they are a professional. Like you said, throughout the journey, it's just let me get there. Once you're there, you see more of a vision. For you, when did that happen?
Yeah, I'm not sure when that happened, as far as being that leader or that pioneer or paving the road. I was still trying to follow in the footsteps of those before me, and not really recognizing what I was accomplishing, because when you're in it, you don't see it. It's when you're out of it, when you look back and recognize your accomplishments. And so I would say it was after my professional career and understanding that I was still only one of a few African-American female professional players that, had broken into the top 100 in singles, or top 70 or top 60 in singles. And so it's much later when you're out of it and you have a chance to reflect and understand the impact that I had as a tennis player, and now the impact that I can have going forward to make a difference and make sure that others behind me are able to have the same opportunities.
Absolutely. And a lot of it is showing up. Tell us about what your experience was as far as, wanting a break, but it's you're there. I mean, did the passion and the drive and just wanting to always play get you there, or were there days that you didn't want to go that you can share with the youth and the audience about just showing up because you have this commitment to see it
Yeah.
through?
You know, I was the one that wanted to play tennis. My parents didn't play tennis. They knew nothing about tennis. They still didn't know much about the professional tour or any of those things growing up. You know, tennis was I came from a middle class family with parents who were teachers, so they really couldn't afford to keep me in the sport at the level that I was. And I was very lucky to get support from the likes of the USTA and other community organizations in Chicago, the Chicago Prairie Tennis Club and Midtown Tennis Club, Hyde Park Racket Club, a lot of people who chipped in to
That's awesome.
provide me either free court time or free lessons or what have you along the way. And so, you know, this was all self-driven. And I'm pretty sure at some point my parents wished that I didn't have that drive or that passion, as I was, you know, draining them when we had two older brothers who were, you know, college age by the time I really became good and traveling. So it was a challenge for them, but you know, they made a lot of sacrifices to allow me to follow my dream and my passion, and I'm grateful for that.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about your college career, because you were attending Northwestern University and you made history. You were the first African American to win the singles in 1983, 1984. What was that like? Take me back to that experience. And also you won the doubles in 1987 with Diane Donnelly.
So 1983-84 was my high school at Whitney Young High School, Illinois high school state champion. And I was the first African American to do that. And then the doubles was at Northwestern University as a sophomore with Diane Donnelly, now Stone. So, you know, those were great experiences. Again, when you're in it, you don't know that. I mean, it's not, history is always something that's made or that you learn about after the fact. So, you know, my thing was every day was go out and put my best foot forward and do my best and hope to walk away with a championship. And I did that more times than not in my career. And, you know, I'm blessed.
Television commentator as well. I think the achievements just keep going on and on and on. You've done so much. How cool is it to kind of be able to do that afterwards as well, on top of everything else you do?
Well, I wanted to go into commentating. It was one of my goals that I set. You know, when I was 12, I sat down with one of my coaches and did my short, mid, and long-term goals. And believe it or not, I said I was going to go to Northwestern. I said I was going to turn pro after 2 years. I said I was going to go into commentating after I retired, and I did all those things. So I'm just sorry that I didn't set more goals to see where they would have gone beyond that. But I think when you're 12 and you're talking about what you're going to do at 30, 31, that was a long way ahead. So commentating was great. It keeps me in the sport. I'm still doing it. It keeps me close to the game as the game evolves. Keeps me with having the relationships with this generation of players and then the next generation. And I enjoy it.
I just want to say thank you so much for being here again, because it's such an honor. I'm hoping your energy rubs off on me. You're a pioneer. So awesome. So I'm just so grateful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Kia, your turn.
Oh, so tell us about one of the, how about the most challenging match that you ever played?
I mean, I don't know. I played a lot of great champions, a lot of number ones. I would say, you know, the last singles match I actually played was a loss against Serena Williams, who was 17 at the time. And it was a match that I said, I'm done playing singles, and I played doubles for the rest of my career. So, you know, that was definitely a challenging one as I was on my way out. I had a loss against Jennifer Capriati where I think I was off the court before I even got on the court when I thought I was really playing well. And so that was, you know, another challenging, but I've played Chris Severt, you know, Jennifer Capriati, and, you know, so many other players that it's hard to just pick one.
Wow.
Absolutely. That's incredible. All those names, memory lane.
All right. So speaking of Serena Williams, so obviously you faced her when she was 17, still growing. And after the match, did you say to yourself, oh, that's when Serena could be a star? And now look at her. She has 23 Grand Slams. And what was the first time you saw when you said to yourself that Serena can be a star like that?
No, we knew that she would be a star when she was a kid. I think I met her when she was 9 and her sister Venus was 11. You know talent when you see it, and it's just a matter of making sure that they have the right opportunities and that they stay healthy along the way, of which they did. You know, and they've had their battles with injuries in their older age, but we knew that Serena was going to be a superstar. I don't think anyone ever thought that she would be as great as she became. But it's just a testament to just her own drive and her own commitment, and her own passion to the sport. And having her sister Venus there for the majority of her career, I think was critical, because she had that best friend that was always there, that she could unload with, that she could cry with, that she could laugh with, etc. That really, I would say, extended both of their careers because they had each other out there.
Mhm. And just a follow-up question to that, and take us through your experience when you competed in the high level competition in the Wimbledon and U.S. Open, French Open, Australian Open. What was it like just to be in front of those fans, because the fans go crazy when those events happen?
Yes, it's so quiet
Well,
too.
Well, no, I mean, that's every tournament. Every tournament, there's a crowd. I mean, a Grand Slam, if you're on a major court, then the crowd is bigger.
Yeah.
You know, I never played center court at Wimbledon. I played court number 1, which was her second court. I played center on all the other courts. So, you know, it's great. I mean, that's the energy. Again, I'm a Leo, so it's all about showing out and showing off, and having a great time, and building from the energy from the crowd. I mean, that's what turns me on in a lot of those situations that I have, particularly in some of the big matches. So, you know, Grand Slam tennis is an experience in itself. Each major is a very different experience when it comes to the Australian Open, the French Open, Wimbledon, the US Open. The environments are different, the atmosphere is different, the people are different. And so it's something, those are memories that I'll always cherish.
Yeah, I want to talk about your Women's Tennis Association Player Service Award 2 times. How much of an honor was that? And of course, that tributes to the hard work you put in.
You know what, those were real honors, because those awards are voted on by your peers. The players are the ones that are voting, nominating and voting. And so it showed to me that they saw the hard work that I was putting in. I served on the Players Association board for many years, served on multiple committees. And so it shows that they saw the hard work that I put in, and they appreciated it. And then I was awarded by it. So yeah, that's definitely a couple of awards that I'll always cherish as well.
Nice. And tell us about the physical regimen of training versus practice tennis.
So I mean, when you're not on tour, if you're at home, I mean, it's an 8-hour day. I mean, between practice, gym, track, lunch, nap, you know, practice again, it's a full day. And it's probably even longer for a lot of people, but it's a job. And so you have to approach it like like a job. It's your career. You only earn what you make. So winning is everything, so that you can earn more money. And so that was, you know, that's where the commitment comes in and the discipline comes in, and just being, you know, dedicated to your craft. At a tournament, it's actually a lot easier, because you may have a light practice before your match. You may do some gym work later after your match, and then you're resting and relaxing for your next match the next day, or at least back then. Now today, you know, the regimen of these players, even their warm-ups are like what my full gym workouts were back, you know, back in the 90s. But it's exciting and fascinating to see just how one can push their body and be the best that they can be. And I admire the hard work that today's athletes are putting into it in all sports, but particularly in my sport.
It's incredible, the leg strength that I see in the women in tennis and in golf, the ones that really accelerate the leg strength. So you actually ran track too outside as part of your training?
Well, it's not running track, it's just doing certain exercises and drills on the track. So yeah, I guess it is running track. I mean, because you're doing 100, you're doing 100s, you're doing 50s, you're doing 200s, you're doing a lot of those things for fast twitch muscles, you know, for the shuttles, or, you know, the long distance for the endurance.
Wow.
Very cool.
Yeah, so speaking of today's athletes, especially I love the tennis. I love watching tennis, and we have a lot of great young talent like Coco Gauff. You got Madison Keys, Naomi Osaka, Serena Williams. You got Maria Sharapova on the female side. You go down the list, so many talented players, and even the male side, Novak Djokovic, Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal. What do you like the growth of tennis now?
No, I mean, tennis is definitely growing. I mean, you're looking at a generation of players that are starting to ease their way out in the next year or two, and the next generation of champions that are growing. You mentioned, Coco Gauff, our young American, and Katie McNally, who's another young American that will be coming up. Jennifer Brady. Those are the next generation of American champions. As Serena and Venus, and Halep, even at 28, I guess. It has a couple years left in her. On the men's side, it's a little more prevalent on as far as age in that next generation. You saw, Alexander Zverev win the gold medal at Tokyo, and he's been someone that's been touted to win a major for at least the last 3 years. And he finally got a big one. So we'll see how he can perform at the US Open this year. He was a finalist last year, because Roger, Rafa, and Novak, are not going to be around forever. Roger and Rafa will leave before Novak. If Novak stays healthy, he's got probably 3-4 more years left in him easily. But I think it's exciting. It's always a new crop. Taylor Fritz, Tommy Paul, Riley Opelka, our young Americans, Francis Tiafoe. That's the group that will be, leaning on, and Sebastian Korda in the next few years to be the leaders of the men's game.
Yeah, I want to ask about the Olympics so far, the Tokyo Olympics. Just talk about your favorite moments. It could be tennis, it could be any event so far. Just watching it, it's been a great time so far. I know for me.
I mean, I'm a sports fan, so I've enjoyed watching the swimming. I'm watching the gymnastics. Track and field is just getting underway. I mean, what an incredible 100-meter that was the other night with all the Jamaicans coming through. It's just incredible, and just the hurdles in the rain. I think that was last night or 2 nights ago. But I applaud every Olympian that's there. Getting there is a battle in itself. Not every Olympian is going to medal. And so I feel bad for those that have just missed it by 1/100th of a second or something like that to medal. But, I just admire and applaud all of the medalists that we've seen thus far, and we still have a few more days.
And shout out to Simone Biles for coming back. She won bronze today, so kudos to her. Shout out to her.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's an amazing feat in itself, for someone that's been struggling the way that she was, and people just don't understand the severity of when you have a mental block in your sport, in your craft, and particularly for someone like Biles in gymnastics, where it's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's not like me going out and hitting 20 double faults because I've got the yips in tennis, but understanding the apparatuses that she's performing on, and the tumbling and the jumps and all those things. So it was great to see her at least be able to get in control of those emotions and that confidence to go back out there and perform one last time at this year's events. And the team in itself as a whole, they all did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Regarding mentorship with the youth, what is something that you would advise to the youth?
I mean, for the youth, it's really about making sure that you love the sport that you're playing, and that you're having fun. I mean, at the end of the day, it is a sport. It's a sport first before it ever becomes a job. And I think if the kids lose sight of having fun in their craft, then they're not going to enjoy it long term. So if you want to stay in your craft and that sport for a very long time, enjoy it, work hard at it. There's always going to be some days you don't want to do it, or you don't want to take instruction from someone. But I don't think anyone is really trying to put our kids in danger in what they're doing. It's all for the benefit of them becoming a better individual and a better athlete. But for me, it's about having fun and going out there and enjoying it.
Absolutely.
So I want to ask you, this is a 2-part question. I don't know how the Hall of Fame works for the tennis, but if there were for you, Katrina, like I said, you had an amazing career and a great career. I think, in my opinion, you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Whatever they have for tennis, you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame because uh, you're such an inspiration in the tennis game, and obviously you're still involved in the game. So, what's it like for you just to still be involved in your sport that you played, and helping these young tennis players develop their game, and also working as you used to be a president, obviously, but working, what's it like just to be working in the game of tennis still?
I mean, I'm working in it at the highest level. I'm the vice president of the International Tennis Federation, which is a ITF, who runs the Olympics event that we are all just witnessed this past week, as well as the Davis Cup and the Billie Jean King Cup. And so I'm still involved at a very high level on the business side of it. It's really about me supporting a sport that has done so much for me, and I want to make sure that I can give everything I can back to the sport to help others realize their dreams or their opportunities. So that's on a global level. I'm the chairperson of the Gender Equality and Tennis Committee, and really trying to make sure that we can get more women in our sport, not on the court, but on the business side, and on the volunteer side, and in the boardroom. That's critical that we have more diversity of thought when we're making, these critical decisions and direction for the sport. I run a youth program here in Harlem, the Harlem Junior Tennis and Education Program, which is an NJTL chapter, and it's really about reaching back and pulling forward, making sure that these kids have an opportunity to use tennis as a vehicle to earn a college scholarship. We're only going to have so many professional tennis players, and for me, it's more critical to make sure that they have all the tools that they need as an individual to be champions in life, and not just champions in tennis. So I'm involved in so many different organizations. There is an International Tennis Hall of Fame. It's in Newport. And, maybe someday I will be there as a contributor. I won't be there as a player based on the criteria, but it's not a goal. It's just something, the things that I do is to make a difference, not to get accolades or to be, awarded for them.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about how it felt to complete your book and then go back and look at all the chapters. I mean, did you just feel incredible? Like, I did that. I created that whole life. How did that feel?
It's a process. It's definitely a process. I did work with a collaborator who helped me with the outline, the direction, to stay focused on narrowing the topics. But it was definitely rewarding once it's done. I read the book probably 50,000 times because you're constantly editing it along the way before you get to that final copy. But it's definitely an honor, a thrill. I don't realize, you don't realize all the things that you've done or accomplished in your life until you have something like this that you actually look back on or you can reflect on. Because I'm not looking back to see what I've done. I'm always looking forward to see what beautiful. I can do. And so it's enriching. It is definitely.
Amazing.
Yeah, that is definitely amazing. I know I'm going through the process right now. I'm excited to get it published and be able to have that stage for sure. You're a global speaker. You're going around, and obviously you give with one expectation that positivity gets passed on. Has there been any interactions or any particular person you've talked to at some point, through speaking, that you could really tell it hit with them, or maybe something they told you that hit hard with you?
I'm sure there has been. I mean, I can't pinpoint one person or another. But yeah, I get so many people that, will send me an email or a note on LinkedIn or something that they saw or heard me and that I inspired them. And that means the world, because I think that's my ultimate goal, is to be able to lift someone up and provide some inspiration that they need to feel that they can go to the next level. And so all those little, messages that I get on social media, they mean more because they're all from strangers, pretty much. And as opposed to being in an environment, an arena where I know people and they're patting you on the back and saying what a great job you did or how much they enjoyed it. It's really about those people that have never encountered or come in touch with, that are going out of their way to find a way to let me know how much they enjoyed the book, or, my speech or the interaction that we may have had at one event or another. And, I haven't had, because of COVID, I haven't really been to any conferences
Oh,
in,
wow.
in over a year to be able to meet a lot of these people, or to meet new people and to talk about the book. So hopefully things will start to clear up soon where I can start to attend those types of events and spread the love.
Hmm.
That's so nice. I hope you get that chance soon then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what would you say your most what would you say your favorite stadium to play in as a player?
Good question.
You put me on the spot here. Of course, I'm going to say Arthur Ashe Stadium. Of course, I'm going to say that. I mean, I don't know. It's a very good question. As I mentioned, all of the slams in particular, they're all very different. There's smaller tournaments that I enjoyed playing as well, but everything is kind of personalized to the city or the crowd that you're in. But I would definitely say playing at the U.S. Open. It was actually the grandstand court at the U.S. Open. The old grandstand
Oh, wow.
was my favorite court to play on. It was intimate. It kind of gave me the feeling as if I was playing indoors. There was always a full crowd there. And I would say that's probably the favorite court that I've ever played on.
And I know you're doing multiple stuff right now, but would you consider being like a tennis coach on the side to help these young tennis, like for example, like the young tennis players we just mentioned? Would you consider being like a coach for them on the side for like mentoring?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. I've been a coach. Those days are over for me, and being on the court like that, or mentoring, yes, but to say I'm traveling 30 weeks out of the year, 25 weeks out of the year,
Wow.
is not appealing to me anymore.
That's incredible. That's a lot. That's certainly a lot. Tell us one of your keys to balance on a daily basis to maintaining that personal peace.
Well, I mean, working out is important, even if it's just going for a long walk to get the juices flowing. I do some meditation on an app. It's about 10 minutes a day, and that's about it. I mean, I stay focused every day. I get up with a to-do list, and I'm task oriented. So my goal is to make sure I put a check mark by everything that is on that list, meaning that it's been completed. And so, I don't overdo it. I mean, some days, yes, but most of the times I'm pretty balanced and pretty sure of myself as to what it is I want to accomplish for that day or in the immediate future.
That's
So,
great.
Yeah, so we usually do this fun little segment on the show. It's called the rapid fire segment. We're gonna switch it up a little bit. We're gonna do Vadon's segment. What he does on his show is called Flip the Switch. So Vadon, take it away.
Yeah, so what I do
Okay.
on my show is I have the guest, the person I'm talking to, ask me a few questions, and I love to bring it to Nathan's show sometimes. So what we'll have you do is we'll pretty much give you the virtual mic and let you ask us a couple of questions.
All right. What's your favorite sport?
Let's go first. I guess I'll go. To play, I'd say football and basketball because those are the two sports that I play a lot of. To watch, I feel like I can watch anything.
Yeah, who's your favorite athlete?
Who would be my favorite athlete?
Yes.
Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
All right. Nathan, what is your favorite music?
Oh, I like hip hop rap music. So
I like that. What's your favorite color?
For me, I'd say blue or green.
You keep giving me either or. I want one answer. Okay,
Turquoise.
just one answer. All right, turquoise. All right, Kia, what's your favorite book?
Favorite book? That's a tough one. It would have to be one of mine, and I would say it's my children's book. But it's not out yet. But it's going to be all across the whole world, and everyone's going to be able to relate to it. So.
All right, and last one, Nathan. What's your favorite? Who's your favorite actor?
Ooh, oh man, that's a tough one. You're putting me on the spot too. All right,
that's what it's about.
That's a great question.
Yeah, that's a great question. Hold on. All right. If I have to go comedy, it has to be Kevin Hart.
That's fine. He's an actor. There you go. Those are my questions.
Those are great questions.
That's awesome.
And those are very rapid fire questions. That's what we usually do, is playful, fun, quick.
Yeah,
That's
so,
fun.
the
Good.
last two things here before we let you go. Our team is part of this foundation. It's called the Hugh Jackson Foundation, and he's a former NFL coach, but now he's offensive coordinator at Tennessee State with Eddie George, and we're trying to help him prevent human trafficking, making sure the community stays safe and the kids stay safe. So I'll send you the foundation so you can go check it out.
Thank you very much, and I'm glad that you guys are a part of that. It's so, it's so important for people to be connected to something, to be able to give back and support and make a difference in someone's life. So thank you for being a part of that particular foundation.
Yeah, anytime. And
Absolutely.
actually, before we get to the last thing, where can people find your book? And
It can go anywhere. It's on Amazon.com. It's at Target. It's at Barnes and Nobles. It's at HarperCollins.com. Many of the HudsonNews.com. It's in a lot of the Hudson News stores, particularly here in the New York area. So yeah, if you're traveling, and stop in the bookstore, and hopefully it's there, and pick it up.
and the last thing,
Katrina, will you be doing a book?
I have been doing a book
cool.
tour since March. I will be in DC this weekend. I'll be in Atlanta next weekend. I'll be at the US Open for a day in September, and so forth and so on. So no, I've been very consistent since.
Oh, cool. We'll have to
since
check the website.
April.
Yeah, we
Everybody
gotta
check the
go.
website. See if she's coming near you.
yeah, we got to go check that out. We got to come in person, Katrina, meet you in person. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
There you go. It's posted on my website, KatrinaMAdams.com.
And the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and essential workers right now?
Absolutely. Just thank you for your tireless commitment to your craft. I know it's tough, but we appreciate all the hours of blood, sweat, and tears that you're putting into it. And I pray that each of you stay safe, as it looks like we're about to go through, a difficult time again.
Yeah, well said. And there it is. That wraps up episode 869 with former tennis player Katrina Adams, and now she is the International Tennis Federation, and she does a lot of work in the tennis game, especially in the gender equality, which is a big thing now in sports. And Katrina, I just want to say thank you for joining the show. This has been an inspiring conversation, truly an honor, and we finally made this happen. I know you've been busy, but we got this, and we would like to have you back as a returning guest at some point so you can meet the full team. But keep up the great work, Katrina. And like I said, you're such an inspiration, and women in sports, it's growing, and I love it.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed the conversation. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's nice meeting you all.
Yep.
And buy the book, Own the Arena.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate you, Katrina.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.